Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lions from Lambs YouTube channel. I'm Rob Malone, I'm an elementary school teacher, and today I want to discuss competition and moreover, the value of competition to children. Now, there's been a trend over the past 10 to 15 years that we've become shy about competition. We don't want to have our kids competitive. There was a trend there for a while of a soccer game between kids teams. Well, we don't keep score. Everybody gets a trophy because they participated. And while that is probably well intentioned, it's incredibly misguided because really, if we want to prepare our children for life, and that is the ultimate responsibility of a parent, of a caregiver, of a teacher, to prepare children for life. Well, the essence of life is competition. Historically, it's been competition for food, competition for land and territory, competition for resources. Now in our modern society, just because we consider ourselves civilized, the competition hasn't gone away. Now there's competition for job market, right? For jobs or for the housing market. You want to get a good home. Whatever it is, the essence of life is competition. And so we are horrendously failing our kids if we don't introduce them to and prepare them for competition. And really that's where athletics really came from, where allowing kids to get involved in athletics came from, because it teaches so many valuable life lessons. It fosters their resilience, right? Because when you have a kid who's playing in a sport, it's one thing to be playing in the home with family, with friends, even with cousins. Now, sometimes brothers and sisters can get very competitive, but that's still family. When they play a sport and then they go out and play another team, they're playing outside of the home, outside of their comfort zone. Their teammates, if they're playing a team sport, their teammates are most likely certainly not all going to be related to them. So they're going to have to learn to work with their teammates. Also the opponents they play, they're not going to know them in many situations. So they have to learn to deal with a lot of different people with whom they're not familiar. Also, the competition is going to teach them how to strive to win. It's going to let them understand that there is a goal involved here with what we're doing. We want to win, and in order to win, we have to outplay the opponents because they're trying to win and they're trying to outplay us and prevent us from winning. Then they have to competition teaches kids how to deal with setbacks and bounce back, because perhaps they are playing the other team and the other team outplays them and wins. Well, what do? You don't just quit after a loss. You say, okay, let me look at this is what I did here. This obviously didn't work. Let me go back to the drawing board and figure out a better way to go about this so that next time I play, I'm more prepared to win. Without competition, that doesn't exist. That ability, that opportunity to evaluate their performance simply doesn't exist if you're just playing for fun, as people like to say. So competition is incredibly important for that. Competition enhances their motivation and ambition, and this can translate to the academic world as well, which is where you really want them to be competitive and motivated. Because if you've got your kids they do well in school and they've got a nice friendly rivalry going on in the classroom to where another student is doing well as well, or several students, and they're all kind of motivated to outdo the others on tests and on projects and on assignments, It can really foster that motivation to study harder, because they know if Jimmy is going to be studying hard and he always makes between 90 and 95 on his tests, then it might motivate that child to say, you know what, I want to beat Jimmy on this one. I'm going to study harder. No, I'm not going out tonight to play. I'm going to hit the books, right? Or after dinner say, hey, thanks for dinner, Mom. That was great. Now I'm going upside to crack the books open because I want to outdo Jimmy. That's where competition can really lead to really incredible results, building motivation, ambition. And we see there where that even though it's competition between peers, it is healthy competition because it's fueling their aspirations to do better, to be successful, to outdo the others. And that's really what you want. That's how you become the best of something. That term best and brightest, it didn't just snap out of thin air. The best and brightest have to be those who work the hardest. But in order to work hard at something, you have to have motivation. And in many areas, not all, but in many areas, it's that competition against a rival that fuels that motivation to work harder and do better. All right. Competition exposes children to diverse situations. Again, if we go back to sports, athletics, if a child is playing a game, let's just go back to the soccer example. They're playing a soccer. Well, they train with their coach, practice with their coach and their teammates, but then they go to the actual competition, be it a tournament or even an individual game. Well, now they're playing another team of kids they don't know, and those kids are being trained by a different coach who may have a different style, most likely has a different style, has taught them different strategies. Now, on the field of play, the child has to adapt to this other team. Because I'm so used to when I go for the team on my the player on my team, if I do a juke this way and I get them, I can get the ball. This other player went that way, right? Little things like that. That's an oversimplification of it, but the concept is the same. The other team is going to play in ways your child hasn't seen before, and again, this goes back to where the competitive necessity, because if there's no competition, if there's no winning or losing, then it doesn't really matter. Oh, they went that way, that was interesting, I really don't care. There has to be competition in order for there to be any desire to win. And from the desire to win comes the motivation to train, to get better. And so that necessity to adapt real time in the game is incredibly important, because that's going to happen again and again and again over the course of your child's life. They're going to be put into situations countless times that will not go as they expected, and they will have to adapt to that. And so really competition is essential to really pull out those skills, those life skills in your child, right? So developing the ability to adapt is something that can only really come from competition, from challenges, from something coming at you that you want one outcome, but the challenges are, in this case, the other team, are standing in your way. You have to adapt. Now, before I get any further on this, it is important to strike a balance here. I don't, for any amount of time, I don't want anybody to get the wrong impression of what I'm saying here. You do not want to become an overbearing parent who pushes their kid to succeed, has them practicing till midnight when they've got to get up at 6:30 or 7 a.m. for school, and not letting them have any free time, not letting them enjoy being a child. That's not what I'm saying to do, because just like adults, burnout is very real for kids. You don't want to push them so hard, because then they'll just burn out. And from a child's in a child psychology, once they burn out at something, they're done. I don't want anything more to do this. I don't want to play it anymore. You know, they'll throw their ball away and they won't want it. So there is a very, very clear balance between that. You don't want to be an overbearing parent. You simply want to... The best way to do this is really just to allow your children to get into competitive environments. Sports is certainly number one. Academics as well, if you can find the right motivation. But allow them into the competitive environments and foster that idea that, hey, it's okay to want to do better than other students or other players. It's okay to want to win. And help them when they want help, guide them if they need guidance, but then step back a little bit and allow them to experience competition, winning, losing, coming up short, not giving their best. They'll come to you for advice when they need to. That's really the best way to kind of balance that. But they need that exposure to competition. They need to know it's okay to be in competition with somebody else. It doesn't mean you dislike that person. It doesn't mean you hate them or want them to be harmed. It simply means you're in competition. That's the nature of the game. So there's really a very important and serious reason why we want our kids to be raised in environments that are competitive. The rest of the world, the other major players in the world, the major superpower countries or even countries on the rise, are preparing their kids for an incredibly competitive future global job market. And we need to be doing the same if we really care about our kids. And of course we do. I mean, if you're a parent, you've brought your child into the world, you do your best, you sacrifice for them, you want them to do their best. You don't just want them to do their best while they're kids. You want them to go on and have successful and healthy and happy lives. And so you've got to prepare them for being adults as well. And this goes for parents, caregivers, teachers. We've got to prepare these kids for what will be an incredibly competitive job market. Before they even get to the job market, college. Getting into college. In my opinion, getting into college 8-9 years from now is going to be much more difficult because of the fallout of everything we've seen over the past several years as far as universities. It's just my opinion, but something's going to give, and I have a feeling it will get much more competitive to get into colleges, certainly into the higher colleges. It's going to be very, very difficult. So you don't want your child growing up totally oblivious to competition, thinking that the world is, all happy, sunshine and rainbows, and then they get to college and bam, they're hit like a sledgehammer because it's incredibly competitive. We have that drive, that motivation to be better than your opponents or your rivals. That is incredibly important. It's essential for them to be able to maneuver and have the options to do whatever they want to do when they grow up. So competition best prepares kids to be strong, stable, healthy, and successful adults. The world's not going to get any easier. Life is not going to get any easier. And so we really need to prepare kids for that reality. And competition, exposing them to competition early is the best way to do that. If you found some value from this video, I'd appreciate you hitting the like button. And if you enjoy the content of the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that notifications bell so that you'll be advised anytime videos come out. Thank you for your time.